When I found out Lily was cheating on me, it was like watching my life blow up in slow motion. I knew our marriage hadn't been perfect, but 10 years is a long time to build a life together. When she casually dropped her affair into an argument, like she was throwing out old trash, I felt like someone had punched me in the gut. But the worst part was how she flipped the whole thing around on me, acting like she was the one who'd been wronged, acting like I owed her something. The day I got her alimony request, I almost laughed. She was demanding monthly payments. "After everything you've done, you think I'm going to pay you?" I muttered, reading over the court document. But this wasn't some random demand she was throwing out in a fight. This was formal. She actually thought I was going to bankroll her life after she walked out on our marriage for another guy. When I met my lawyer, I still couldn't wrap my head around it. "She wants alimony," I said, shaking my head. "She's the one who cheated on me. Isn't there some kind of rule against this?" My lawyer, Jeff, looked at me calmly. "Unfortunately, the court doesn't care who cheated. All it sees is who earned more in the marriage and who needs support afterward. And she's arguing she needs a lot of support. She's shameless," I said, leaning back in my chair. "We both know she wasn't struggling." Jeff looked over her financial statement, and even he raised an eyebrow. "She's claiming she has almost no savings," he said, flipping through the pages. "Mark, did she really not save anything?" "She saved," I said bitterly. "But if she's claiming poverty, she's hiding something. Then we'll need proof," Jeff replied, a steely look in his eye. I'd always known Lily had a flair for drama, but I didn't expect her to play the helpless ex-wife card so well. She claimed she had no means to keep up with her lifestyle, that she needed a big, generous alimony payment from me because she had nothing left. It was insulting. I knew the kind of life she'd been living. After we separated, she went on 2 vacations, one to Mexico and one to some tropical resort with that new boyfriend of hers. She flaunted it all over social media like she was on top of the world. And she wasn't exactly going on these trips on a tight budget. To make matters worse, she tried to go after my house. She had the audacity to argue that she emotionally contributed to it. In court, she said, "I may not have made payments, but I supported him emotionally every step of the way. I was there for him when he was stressed from work. Doesn't that count for something?" I almost laughed out loud. She barely listened when I talked about my work. "Your Honor," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "She's stretching the truth. I paid the mortgage, and any support she's referring to was minimal at best." The judge didn't look impressed by her argument, thankfully, but she just shifted tactics. One day, Jeff called me with an update. "Lily filed for temporary spousal support," he said. "Claims she can't keep up with her living expenses." "Unbelievable," I muttered. "I've seen her expenses. She doesn't need anything from me." "She's definitely overshooting here," Jeff replied, sounding amused. "She listed monthly spa treatments, yoga retreats, and other luxuries." "Yoga retreats?" I scoffed. "She's been to exactly one yoga class. She's inflating everything to look helpless." "Mark," Jeff said, more serious now, "if she's lying about her expenses, there's a good chance she's lying about her savings too. We can hire a forensic accountant to dig deeper." I knew it was going to be expensive, but if it meant getting her hands off my wallet, it'd be worth every penny. "Let's do it." While the accountant combed through her finances, Lily didn't waste any time. She started contacting our mutual friends and even some of my colleagues, painting herself as the victim of a cold, manipulative husband. The rumors started getting back to me. One day, a friend, Alex, pulled me aside. "She told people you were controlling, man. Like, she actually tried convincing everyone that you're the reason for the divorce." I shook my head, too angry to respond. I'd been nothing but supportive to her, and now she was rewriting history to fit her needs. The breaking point came when I got a call from work. A colleague mentioned that Lily had contacted HR, saying she wanted to make them aware of her suffering. She was trying to drag my reputation through the mud. I called Jeff. "She's going after my friends and now my job," I said. "I can't take this anymore." "She's trying to corner you," he replied. "Trying to get you to settle, hoping you'll give in and pay her just to get her off your back." "Yeah, well, it's not going to work," I said, gritting my teeth. "What's the update with the accountant?" "Turns out you were right," Jeff said, with a tone of satisfaction. "She's been hiding a lot." The forensic accountant's findings were damning. Lily had stashed away a significant amount in a hidden investment account. And then there was an offshore bank account that she'd started funding the year before our separation, moving small amounts in each month to avoid detection. She'd also opened a secret brokerage account and had funneled about $50,000 into it. With the evidence in hand, we prepared for the next court date. I'll never forget the look on Lily's face when she realized what I'd found. Her confidence wavered for the first time, and she looked like a deer caught in headlights. "Mr. Williamson," the judge addressed Jeff, "please explain these new findings." Jeff laid it out clearly, presenting the hidden accounts, bank statements, and the amounts Lily had funneled over the years. "It's clear, Your Honor, that Mrs. Peterson has not been truthful about her financial situation. She misrepresented her assets to this court in an attempt to secure alimony that she does not need." Lily's lawyer tried to recover. "These accounts were simply emergency funds, Your Honor. Mrs. Peterson was preparing for an uncertain future. I couldn't hold back any longer." "Emergency funds?" I said, almost laughing. "She started these accounts while we were still married, hiding money for years, and she spent thousands on vacations and luxury items after we separated. She's not preparing for an uncertain future. She's living like a queen." The judge looked at Lily, her expression unreadable. "Mrs. Peterson," she said sternly, "this court does not tolerate dishonesty. I take your financial misrepresentation very seriously." That should have been the end of it, but Lily didn't give up. A few weeks later, Jeff called me again. "Mark, you're not going to believe this," he said. "She's transferred more funds into a different account after the court order. She's still trying to hide assets." This time, I was beyond furious. "Then let's make it clear she can't keep getting away with this," I said, my voice cold. "What can we do to stop her?" Jeff didn't miss a beat. "We can request a court order to freeze her assets. If she tries this again, she could face contempt of court." At the final hearing, the judge was unrelenting. Jeff presented Lily's repeated attempts to hide assets even after being caught the first time. The judge's patience had worn thin. "Mrs. Peterson," the judge began, her tone severe, "your behavior has been deceptive and dishonest. You have repeatedly hidden assets, undermining the integrity of this court. Due to your actions, I am denying your request for alimony. Furthermore, I am freezing any assets that you attempted to conceal and placing financial penalties on your accounts as a result of your contemptuous actions." Lily was pale, her face a mix of shock and fury. "But, Your Honor," she began, but the judge cut her off. "You have no grounds to stand on," the judge said firmly. "This court cannot reward dishonesty. You've spent years hiding funds from your ex-husband and then misrepresented yourself in this courtroom. Your actions have consequences, Mrs. Peterson, and you are going to face them." As we walked out of the courtroom, I felt the weight finally lifting. Lily, still reeling, shot me one last glare. "You'll regret this, Mark," she spat, venom in her voice. "You'll end up alone, and you'll remember this day." I looked at her, calm for the first time in what felt like forever. "No, Lily," I said. "I'll remember this as the day I finally walked away from you." It took months to untangle myself from the mess Lily had left behind, but I came out stronger. I wasn't paying a dime in alimony, and her attempts to ruin my life and reputation had backfired spectacularly. If anything, she had only shown everyone around us exactly who she was. Some people never change. Lily had tried every dirty trick in the book to manipulate, deceive, and squeeze me dry, but in the end, her games fell apart. Once the court ruled in my favor, she couldn't hide her bitterness. She tried to keep playing the victim, but people saw through it. All the rumors she'd spread, all the lies she'd told to paint me as some villain. It all just made her look desperate and spiteful in the end. With Lily's assets frozen and her reputation damaged, she couldn't maintain the lifestyle she'd grown so attached to. The new boyfriend eventually bailed, seeing the financial mess she'd tangled herself in. She even tried reaching out to me, asking if we could bury the hatchet. When I saw her email, all I felt was exhaustion. In one of her last desperate messages, she wrote, "Mark, I know we've both made mistakes. Maybe we can find a way to put the past behind us and move forward. It was as if she still couldn't admit what she'd done and just wanted to pretend everything could go back to how it was. I responded with a short, simple message. Lily, the past is behind us. That's where it's staying. As I deleted the email, I knew I'd finally put her and everything she put me through behind me. The relief was overwhelming. It felt like I'd reclaimed my life after years of walking on eggshells, trying to keep someone happy who only cared about herself. Friends who'd stood by me through the divorce kept saying I seemed like a new person. I got back into hobbies I'd put aside during our marriage, like hiking and playing guitar. I even adopted a rescue dog, a scruffy little mutt who needed a home as badly as I needed a fresh start. For the first time in years, I felt genuinely at peace. In a way, the whole ordeal taught me a lot. I learned that standing up for myself wasn't just about keeping my money or proving a point. It was about knowing my own worth. Lily had tested every boundary, pushed every limit, and revealed just how self-centered she could be. I could have backed down and taken the easy route, but facing her down was a turning point for me. Over time, people stopped asking about Lily, and her name just became another piece of my past. I heard she moved out of town, maybe to start over somewhere new. I'll never know for sure, and frankly, I don't care to. Because now, every day is mine,